Hello and welcome to CNBC-TV18's continuing coverage here at Davos 2025. I'm Shereen Bhan. One of the sectors which has seen a fair amount of interest as well as regulatory change in India and potential regulatory change in India is the insurance sector. To talk about the future for the industry but also for his company, joining us now is Tapan Singhel of Bajaj Allianz General Insurance. Tapan, always a pleasure. Many thanks for joining us here on CNBC-TV18. Well, before I talk to you about the outlook for the sector, let's talk about the outlook as far as the alliance is concerned. You have, of course, gone public to say that Allianz has expressed its interest or its intention to exit the alliance. It's an alliance that dates back over 2 decades. Why is that?
First and foremost, always a pleasure, honor to speak to you, Train, and good to be here. So if you look at, it's been a very strong partnership, very strong partnership, and an amazing company has got created, Bajaj Allianz, which has close to 15 crore customers, one of the largest companies in India. It got very well. Technically, we see that the problem, the one with the majority control can roll it up to their balance sheet. India being a big market now, if you look at for the insurance market, it's already the 10th largest, going to become the 5th largest or 3rd largest, depending on how the economy moves, is going to move there. Now, if you are a good international player, why would you miss the opportunity of consolidating it in your balance sheet?
And now the FDI regulations allow them to go it alone.
Exactly, yeah. So if that be the case, this would be something which I would see more happening in the Indian market now, more closely. But having said that, as of now, nothing has come to the board. It is an intent that they have expressed. So let's see how it works
But is there still room for discussion and negotiation to keep the alliance going?
As I said, very strong partners together. But this is a question that you should ask the shareholders. The wrong person asking to answer this question. But as I said, an amazing company got created, and the issue would be that on consolidation of balance sheet. And we have seen it in the past also happen for some companies in the Indian market. And the future also, we should see this happen, because why should you not roll it up to your balance sheet, with India being such an important market?
Well, that's a fair point that you make. And since you talked about the growth of the Indian market as well as the expectation that it's likely to become the 5th largest insurance market in the world, do you believe that this, in light of the FDI regulations changing, this is a sector that is ripe for more investment, for more FDI and for more global players looking at starting up in India?
It will happen. See, if you look at US, has close to 6,000 insurance companies, You look at India, it's just about 60, 70, for a market like India, which is a huge market with penetration which is as low as about 3 to 4%, the opportunity and the growing market, the opportunity to set up very good insurance companies is huge. So I'd be surprised if India does not see at least 1,000 insurance companies in the near future.
1,000 insurance companies in the next 5 years?
Give it a 10-year period, because what will happen is initially it's a trickle. People see the exceptional results of the companies that are there, and then they start coming in. So give it a decade, and I would be surprised if I don't see that.
Well, that's the long-term outlook as far as the business is concerned. Let's address some of the near-term challenges and concerns as well. And the question mark on GST, industry has been making representations. This matter was taken up by the GST Council in its last meeting. Of course, now a decision has been made to seek feedback from the regulator as well before the final call is taken. What is it that you believe is the need of the hour? What will work as far as industry is concerned, but also achieve the objective of penetrating to a higher degree the insurance sector in India?
See, when you look at insurance, also look at the social impact it has, in any environment. It's like a social security for a lot of millions of Indians. If you ask my personal view, every Indian should be covered, for health, let's say, be it from insurance, be it from trust, be it from government, but everybody should be covered. We're sad to see about 8-10 crores of Indians getting below poverty line every year because they could not afford the healthcare. So it's a pressing need. Now, an 18% GST on something which is so much societal requirement, I think it's a bit too much. It has to come down, and that is the industry has been representing that. Not only this, even a regulator for hospitals is required. So when you're trying to build a good health ecosystem, you should see end-to-end how do you build it up completely. The good part which is happening right now is an exchange which is getting created, health exchange for claim settlement, where the insurance industry is already plugged in with their APIs. The hospitals have yet to come on board, and the government is leading that initiative. So I personally feel that this should be fast-forwarded to a hyper speed.
Okay.
Because if we want to become a Viksit Bharat, every citizen of India having a good health cover, whichever maybe, the government or the insurance industry or the trust mode, whatever it is, should be there. I think that is how it is. No?
So what, as I said, feedback has been sought at this point in time. What would be the appropriate rate to your mind? And more importantly, because this debate is also on, if you bring down the rates, then do you give input tax credit? Should you not give input tax credit? What's your view?
As I said, from my perspective, you ask me, my view is purely on the customer. No, if it becomes zero, I'm fine. No, why should we worry on the income tax credit? But if I look at the majority view of the industry, they are looking at about 12% or so, or 5%. I think it's a very oscillation between these two. But individually, if you ask me, I'm perfectly fine even if it becomes zero, because the objective is that how do you make the whole health ecosystem a very, very viable for every citizen of the country.
So you believe that zero is the number that the GST Council should go with?
They should.
Well, let's talk about growth, but let's also talk about the possibility of listings. You said that over the next 10 years, you expect at least 1,000 insurance companies in India. How many listed insurance companies? Now, this has again been something that the regulator has been speaking to industry about, that the large companies ought to be listed or ought to look at that journey now.
Yeah, so listing is also a natural phenomena because it is supposed to bring in transparency and good governance. I think that is why most regulators look for it. But you look at the insurance industry, it's actually amazing to see the amount of disclosure the regulator already insists on. So if you go onto the site, even a non-listed company has amazing disclosures which is there. And the governance mechanism put in the regulator is actually pretty good, and the kind of review mechanism that they have is already in place. So with a strong regulator, I think the impact of listing or not listing from a transparency governance perspective is not that huge.
Okay.
Now, having said that, listing is always good as a way forward, and as companies become large, they should be looking at it. And that's why the regulator has been nudging large companies to look at listing.
So where does industry find itself with the regulator nudging it on listing?
Why? They respect the regulator. So I think they would be thinking about a road plan. They would be putting it together. So in the next, let's say about 3-4 months, you would be seeing road plans coming together in terms of how they're looking at it.
3-4 months, as early as that?
No, in terms of their thought process. No?
Right.
Because right now the regulator asked for the thought process. They're not asked for the listing to happen immediately. I don't think that is what they have said. They said there should be a thought process. There should be a glide path. There should be thinking.
What do you believe is the appropriate glide path to listing?
It depends on company to company. I think a company at what stage they are in, how they look at it, depending on promoters, they have to think it together. So it will vary from each company to company. You cannot have a one-size-fits-all for this.
Yes, I would imagine so. But, what's the outlook then for 2025 in terms of customer acquisition, in terms of penetration? How confident do you feel about the year ahead?
So one thing I'm very excited about is the initiative by the regulator of reaching to the Gram Panchayat from a general insurance business perspective. There's something called the Bima Vahak and Bima Vistar getting set up very close now, in which you'll have the distribution network created at Gram Panchayat level. And the product which is coming up is a combination of health, life, and the PNC product. The industry is coming together to come with a common product and to ensure that they reach to every village and cover that. That would be a kind of a landmark change in the way the industry has operated in major cities or the tier 1, tier 2 cities, reaching to the villages. So next year that will be very exciting. The second excitement would be the creation of Bima Sugam.
Yes.
I think that also by the end of next year you should see a lot of action happening there. That would be exciting. Third is, I think as an industry, what we are pushing for is 2-3 things. If you look at, let's say you saw the California wildfire, if you look at the natural catastrophe in India also, you saw the Sikkim floods, you saw. But if you look at the coverage in India compared to US, when a disaster happens in US, because 95% insurance is there, rebuilding starts happening very well. And the economic growth gets back, and though it's sad, but people again get back to it. But India, 90%, more than 90%, is economic loss which does not get recovered either from the government or from the insurance industry because of low penetration. Now imagine a budding entrepreneur trying to become the next big industrial house of India. His dreams get washed away one evening, one night, and then he's on the road. Maybe he is bankrupt or she's bankrupt, and they don't know how to recover that. That, I think, is one thing which, again, with the government we're working on, like on the part that we're working on for health for all.
Right.
A simple thing like why can't the employer and employee relationship be made mandatory to have a health cover? US has that, that would actually push up the middle concept. How do you make it more viable end-to-end? So the next year, to me, personally, very exciting. There are 4 or 5 big things going to happen. So I think when I see you next year after that, we'll have a lot to talk about in terms of...
So, you know, we've got the budget coming up, and of course we have the next meeting of the GST Council. Which way both will go, we don't know. But what's the expectation as far as the budget is concerned?
One, if you look at it, and I have mentioned again, insurance and government have to work together because the idea is for societal benefit. Now, if you look at the budget, the 2-3 points which is a clear expectation. One, obviously, would be health for all. I think talks have happened. If you look at the election manifesto, quite a few parties covered that. Now we see over 70 years, it is becoming for all. It's high time, if you talk of Viksit Bharat, health for all should be very clearly laid down for the budget should be there. Second, coverage for all the SME, MSME in the country. Because see, they are the budding entrepreneurs. You can't have a Viksit Bharat where entrepreneurs have a setback because of some kind of...
no safety net.
Yeah, no safety net. Then it doesn't work. So that, I think, would be something which would be, again, very, very keen to be seen into, and how do we put that together. Third, obviously, if there is a tax relief for the homeowners. We have seen the losses which happen in wildfires in US, but in India also, what we forget is we have massive floods happening now. And a lot of people lose their savings in terms of content or damage to the home. And what we also forget is 20, 30 years hard labor, a lot of people when they put that together. Imagine a person in his 60s or 70s losing his home. Where will he build it again? It's gone. No? How do you put that together? So I think we are able to address these 3-4 things. It will be very, very good for the country.
Oh, well, I'm going to go back to the question that I started with. Life minus Allianz or post-Allianz, as and when that eventually does happen. Will you go it alone, or are you in the hunt or searching for a new partner?
No, if you look at the company, first, as I said, on the Allianz movement, you have to ask the promoters. But let us look at the company to understand how the company should or would behave. The companies are a very strong company. If you look at the general insurance company, it's among the top 3 companies, including the government companies in India. It has a massive customer base, about 15 crores, as I mentioned earlier. Last year, the number of policies issued was 3 crores 60 lakhs, the largest issuance of policies in the market. It has a combined ratio which is at least 17% better than the market. It has the highest solvency in the market. It did not require capital from 2008. It has been a self-sustaining business. With such a massive business doing so well, I don't think, and a massive distribution, one of the largest distribution in the market.
You're saying that there is no need to bring anybody else on board.
Such a massive company, I think it is very, very strongly positioned. So I would be surprised if you see something like that.
You'd be surprised if you do decide to enter into another partnership, but I would imagine that many potential suitors have knocked on the door after hearing about Allianz's decision.
That is a good feeling to have. You should always have a huge queue of people looking up to you.
So is there a huge queue of people?
No, I think that's why I said it's a good feeling to have. But I'm not the right person to be able to comment on that because I don't have preview to this information.
Okay, so leave me with 3 numbers that we should focus on for 2025 as far as your business is concerned. You just talked about 15 crores as the number of customers that you have, as well as the strength of the balance sheet. The 3 numbers that we should focus on as targets.
We have done 3 things as a company, and we don't let that go. One, we have always ensured that we try and go over the market in terms of growth. We always ensure that we do the business sensibly, and our balance sheet remains strong, because insurance is about strong balance sheet. We always ensure that we are obsessed about customer and innovate to bring the best to them and transform as many things as possible and get the best of products. So you'll see this continuity happening. Why would there be a change?
Well, Tapan, we wish you the very best of luck. Thanks very much for joining us here in Davos on CNBC-TV18. We wish you the very best of luck, and thanks very much for your time. Well, that's the view on the insurance sector. As we pointed out, it's a sector that is seeing a fair degree of interest and investment on account of the changes in FDI regulations. Of course, there are some sticky issues that require intervention, namely GST, but of course a decision is still pending on that one. We will continue the conversations with a lot more right here from Davos 2025. We're back in a moment. Don't go anywhere.